Hey guys, HobbyTown HobbyPlex, and you know, it's been a while since I have done a kit build for a crawler or anything like that. I always do race cars, and I had an opportunity to put one of these SCX10 IIIs together, and it just so happened that while I was doing it, I'm like, you know what, I should totally make a build video. I've never done one of those on this channel before, and so we're going to give it a go, and I hope you guys appreciate every little thing that I found and what I can show you. Okay guys, HobbyTown HobbyPlex, and we're here continuing the SCX10 III build. The axles are complete. They do feel a little crunchy here and there, but I think that that'll go away once we actually start running the truck. One of the first things that I found that I feel I need to discuss is the shocks. The first shock went together very well, but one thing I did find that I want to show you guys and how I fixed it was the bottom caps on the shocks. Once you put the O-rings in here like this, they have actually created a little bit of drag. So if you put this in here even without oil, there'll be oil in there, but you can see how tight that fit is and how it gets real notchy. All four of these bottom caps are like that, and so what I've done is just taken an X-Acto knife and very carefully give it a good twist and just scrape away a little bit of material. You're not going to need to do a lot. Make sure that none's in there, but once you get away just enough material, you can see that it does flow through there very nicely. That doesn't have to be tight because the O-rings in the shocks will be doing their job and will be keeping the oil from coming out. But that resistance in those caps is definitely not needed or wanted. It would make the shocks sticky, which is not what you want. You want your shocks real smooth. So that's one of the first things I found, and we'll continue on. Okay guys, I'm on bag C, the transmission, and after the first run through of getting through the first 2 pages of this build here with the transmission, it seemed like it kind of wanted to bind up, and what I discovered was there's a little plastic washer that you're supposed to put in if you're not going to use the 2-speed, and I only plan on using the Dig Servo for this. So that spacer seemed to be just a tad bit too long, and it was causing the transmission case to bind, and so it made it so that for whatever reason I tried backing out the screws and loosening up, still didn't quite work right. So this little black spacer, what I did was just take a piece of emery cloth and you just kind of rub it. I'm not going to do it a whole lot because I've already done it, but you can see there I rubbed it down just a hair. Now we slide it back on, and then we can take the other half of the case here and get the things lined up, and there you go. Now it seems to be in there. You're still not going to get the movement that would be enough to change the gears, and it spins freely now too. So I'm going to tighten this down, but I'm pretty confident that that'll fix the issue. So just thought there's another thing I found. I'd like to pass it along, so we'll keep going. Okay, so I just want to go over something really quick that I see right away that I might change later on. So I'm on the part of the transmission. We almost have it complete here, and I just assembled the slipper clutch with the spur gear. I love the fact that it's got a metal spur gear. That's fantastic. But I was kind of surprised to see a slipper clutch in there. So you can see here this part of the you can see that part of the build there. So way back in the day when we used to have the Losi comp crawler, they initially came with slippers, and then we all kind of got the slipper eliminators. But before that, we would just glue the pads to the plates so that we got no slip at all. I just tightened this thing down as tight as I can, and it doesn't appear to want to slip. I don't think that we want a lot of slippage with a slipper clutch in there, so it'll be interesting to see when we actually start driving if that happens. And if it does, I'll be taking this thing out and I'll be taking the slipper clutch apart and I'll be gluing those together. So just a little something that I might be doing in the future. Okay, so we're on to bag F, and I ran into a little snag here, so I'm going to be using these big Reefs RC 555 servo, and the servo mount doesn't quite match up with the servo. You can see that the molding doesn't really give the space for this big a servo, so what I'm going to have to do is probably go in and I'm just going to Dremel that down and square it off so that I can fit this big servo. Okay, so we've ground that off a little bit, and now you can see that the servo that I choose to use is going to fit in there just fine. More than enough room now for the screws to line up. So just another little thing I found. I thought I'd pass it along, and not too bad for having not used a Dremel in a while, so that's good. So you can see now that I got my servo in, you can kind of get an idea of why it wouldn't fit with the outside screws on the Reef servo kind of getting in the way. One thing though that I do want to mention, you know, the instruction manual shows to put the servo horn on, and I would wait to do that until you get all your electronics in so that you can properly center the servo. So just keep that in mind, because if you put that in without doing that, without centering the servo, you might have to just do it again anyways. So I would just go ahead and leave it off. So we'll keep going. Okay, so we're on bag F. We're towards the end of starting to get the axles on, get the shocks put on. I've already got the transmission set in place. One thing that I found in the instructions, that if you're crawling regular into building kits, you should already kind of know that your shocks typically would go to the outside of the mounts on the axle. But if this is your first kit, I just want to show you guys something. So the arrows and the dots where the instruction manual is pointing almost make it seem like the links would go to the outside and the shocks would go to the inside, and clearly that's not the case. That's not how it's supposed to be. So I just wanted to show you guys what I think could throw somebody off if this is their first kit that they're building and they're trying to go by what the instructions say. I think that's a little unclear, but for sure the shocks go to the outside part of the mount on the axle. And that way it's straight on there. You can kind of see. We're gonna make it dance. So that's just something else I wanted to bring up, and yeah, we'll continue on. We're almost there. Okay guys, so we're moving right along. You can see I've gotten most of my electronics installed, and my battery trays installed, and now I'm starting to put on these fenders. And I noticed that on page 40 of your instruction manual, just be aware, little discrepancy here. So this shows part number AXA144, and then you go over here and it shows AXA114. So I looked it up, and this is actually the correct number. They should be 3x8 button heads. This number is actually for 3x8 flat heads. So Not a big deal, but if you're getting to this page and you look and you see the numbers are different, just know that in this case, the picture is correct. They should be 3x8 button heads. Pretty easy to follow. So we'll keep going. All right, so we're moving on. You can see I've got the truck pretty much complete. You can see my wheels are on, my servo's in, my motor's in. I'm using the HobbyWing 1080 speed controller. Eventually, I want to go brushless, but nothing's in stock right now, so who cares? I really wanted to cover the Dig servo. I'm not going to be using the 2-speed, so I have it locked out per instructions. You put that spacer in there that we talked about earlier, and now it's not going anywhere. But the Spectrum SCX10 this is what they recommend. This is what you'll find in the ready to runs. It is very, very important to make sure that it's not getting overstressed so that we set the endpoints correctly. Otherwise, you can burn out one of these servos. I'm using the Sanwa MT44, and just really quick, I want to show you guys how to set up your 2-point auxiliary. So if you go into System and Auxiliary Type, you can change this from step to point. It's kind of a different terminology than I was used to last time I had a Dig set up. I was using a Spectrum. I think it's actually a little easier on a Spectrum radio to figure this out. But you can see I got a 2-point, so we'll back out of here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to set our endpoints. And this should be our low. So we're going to make this go all the way. Well, first let me explain what I'm doing. So I have this set at nothing. So when I use, right now, when I use the auxiliary, nothing's happening in the servo. That's because I have it right now set so that it doesn't throw in either direction. It's set exactly at 0. What we're going to do is turn the endpoints up in both directions as far as they need to go, and that'll allow the servo to work without getting burned up. So we're going to get in here and we're going to turn this baby down. On the Dig engagement side, it's going to go all the way up to 100, and then on the other side, we're going to turn it up to 95. With this particular setup that I have, I figured out that it doesn't need to go all the way up to 100 for the 4-wheel drive. That 95 was enough. So now we should find 4-wheel drive, and then when we go dig, we got a full lock in the back. And now we'll be able to make those tight turns and back to 4-wheel drive. And you should be able to hear kind of a click when it does it right. Hear that right there? That's kind of what you're going for. You got to make sure that the throws go far enough back to really pull that rod to lock that rear end in place. And then it's got to have enough going the other way to push it into 4-wheel drive and have it stay there. So that's about it with that. Again, with the Sanwa radio, that's kind of what we figured. But I cannot stress enough how important it is to make sure that you're not going farther than the servo needs to go. That way you can save yourself from buying a bunch of $10 servos all the time. So we'll keep going. Okay, you know, I keep thinking that I'm going to be able to end these little clips on this build, but I keep finding stuff. So I really hate painting a lot. It's the one part of this hobby that I don't enjoy, that I don't like doing. I usually give my bodies to a buddy of mine who's been painting my bodies for a really long time. When I do paint, it's just a rattle can job, usually one color. So for this Jeep body, when I got the window masks, I discovered that, if you see here, that's the left. You can see the arrow is pointed up and all the letters are pointed up. When I did the right side up though, it became apparent that something was amiss. You can see the letters are upside down and the arrow is pointed up. So it can be kind of confusing. If you started doing the right 3 window first, you might say, wait a minute, something's not right. If you started doing this one first, like I did, you quickly figure out that the letters are upside down. So just another little quirky thing during this build that I thought I would share, so that if you watch this video before you build the truck and you have the same maybe a set of printed masks that I do, or any of the other items that we've talked about, you know that you got some stuff coming your way that could throw you off. So that's it. I'm gonna go paint this thing. Okay, well, we're basically done with the build. I stumbled across a couple more things that I want to let you guys know about. I think the white actually looks pretty good. Kind of looks like a stormtrooper truck. I may get some Imperial stickers for it. I don't know. But yeah, the cage I'm not going to put in yet. I want to paint it, and I don't want it to paint it. I don't want to paint it just a basic white. I'm going to paint it, you know, like an interior. So I'm going to leave this out for now, but this went together fine. I decided to go with the ball cap guy. I'm actually thinking about Stormtrooper, but we'll see what happens there. I did want to show a couple things, so just real quick, here on page 46, when you're starting to put on the fender flares and your front radiator, you'll notice here these screws show the same part number here, 235169, as this up here, which says that it's 2.5 by 12. That is not the screws that you're supposed to use. You're actually supposed to use these 235167s, the 2.5 by 8s. So if you come to this section and you're putting those screws through, they'll work, but they're way too long. You're actually supposed to use those 8 millimeters. And then one more thing, when you get to this and you're going to put on your rear body mounts and the rear license plate holder, again, it shows these screws as 235178, and up here if you look, 235178, it says that they're 2.5 by 12, but if you actually do a very quick Google search, or just, they'll probably in the parts listing in the back here, those are actually 3 by 14s, totally different screw altogether. So another little thing that might confuse somebody who's brand new, maybe their first kit, and they're trying to follow the instructions to a T, and they stumble upon these two things. You know, might be minor, but it can definitely throw somebody off who's not ready to figure that one out. So hopefully you guys can, if you get this instruction manual, maybe they've updated it since then. This is a fairly new truck. I think it was our second or third batch of these that I'm building, so we'll see if they made any ongoing updates. Either way, now we get to go test it out. Okay, so we built the car, or the truck I should say. Got it painted. I've decided that white with the black trim was pretty cool, and what I think I'm gonna do is get a bunch of stormtroopers and put them in here, and get like some Empire insignias and put them all over this truck. So not necessarily original, but whatever, it's a Star Wars themed truck. Just real quick, you guys have followed that build, but there she is, all done. I did upgrade a couple things right off the bat, well, just one thing mainly, and I put SSD brass portal covers on the truck to give it a little extra weight in the front, and I did change out the stock tires to some enduro tires that I had lying around. I'm going to save those Axial tires that came with it. Might use them on this truck, might not, I don't know. But let's go see how she works. dig. Getting me out of the pinch. Moment of truth. The dig. Four-wheel drive. You know what? I don't like that. Let's back up.
Good job, brother.
One more time. Dig. There we go. Now four-wheel drive. See if we can make it down the snake. Just gotta keep the front wheels on it. Oh boy. We got it.
Yes, sir.
Dial. Oh boy, this is where the portal should help. There it is. Oh boy. Okay, so there you go. We got some different footage of different parts of our crawler course here at the Plex. I am super happy right now. This is the first portal crawler I've ever owned, and I can already see some of the benefits of it. Just being able to dispatch some things quicker than I would with my Enduro. It definitely drives a little bit different, but I think I like it. I love being able to get out of the pinch using the dig. I got stuck over there earlier, and you kind of saw me use the dig to get out of it, and then I was able to do the tech table pretty much with ease with the dig. So class 3, here I come, coming for you. Thank you guys. Hope you enjoyed the build video. I hope it wasn't boring. I hope I did a good job, I guess. We'll see. But make sure that you subscribe, like, tell your friends, show off what we got here at the Plex, and we'll make a new video for you soon.